The sun was low in the sky, painting the small town of Silverpine with golden light. Children were still playing outside, enjoying the last minutes of daylight. Among them was Liam, a 9-year-old boy with messy brown hair and a curious mind. He kicked a soccer ball across the street and laughed as it bounced off a tree. His house was just a few steps away, and his mother watched him from the porch with a gentle smile. Suddenly, Liam stopped. He heard something strange in the air. It wasn't the sound of birds or cars. It was a soft buzzing, like a tiny engine spinning too fast. The sound grew louder, and he looked up, shielding his eyes from the sun. Then it happened. Out of nowhere, a blur of light and color zoomed around the corner. It was shaped like a bicycle, but it was not from Earth. It glowed with blue light, had no wheels, and floated just above the ground. On it sat a small figure, too small to be a teenager, but not quite a child. Liam didn't have time to move. The glowing bike slammed into him, and both of them fell to the ground with a thud. The soccer ball rolled away, and silence followed. Liam sat up, rubbing his elbow. He looked at the figure who crashed into him, and his mouth fell open. The rider wasn't human. She had purple skin that shimmered in the sunlight, silver eyes that looked like liquid metal, and 2 small antennae poking from her short hair. Her clothes were made of shiny fabric, and her gloves blinked with tiny lights. She gasped and looked at Liam with wide eyes. Then she jumped to her feet and grabbed the floating bike, trying to run. "Wait," Liam said, standing slowly. "Are you okay?" The alien girl froze. She looked back at him, confused, then took a step forward. But before she could answer, someone shouted, "Liam, what happened?" It was Mr. Carson from across the street, and more neighbors began to gather. The girl panicked, tapped something on her glove, and vanished. Right in front of everyone, she disappeared. The glowing bike remained, hovering gently a few inches above the ground. Everyone gasped, some screamed, others pulled out their phones. But when they looked again, the bike was gone too. Liam stood there, stunned. He wasn't hurt, but his heart pounded like a drum. Had anyone else seen what he saw? Was it real? His mother rushed to him and checked his arms and legs. "You're okay, thank goodness," she whispered, holding him close. "I saw her," Liam said. "She wasn't from here." No one believed him. The police came, asked questions, took notes, and left with confused faces. People talked for hours, calling it a trick, a prank, or a dream. But Liam knew it wasn't. That night, after dinner, Liam sat on his bed, staring at the ceiling. He couldn't stop thinking about the girl. Where did she go? Why was she riding that bike? Was she hurt? He went to his window and looked outside. The backyard was quiet. The trees barely moved in the wind. But something shimmered near the edge of the forest behind the house. A soft pulsing light, like a heartbeat. He squinted and saw 2 silver eyes watching him from the dark. Liam's heart skipped. He opened the window slowly, trying not to make a sound. He leaned out, and the light vanished. But he knew what he saw. He grabbed a flashlight and tiptoed downstairs. His mother was asleep on the couch, and the TV hummed. In the background, he unlocked the back door and stepped into the yard. The air felt cooler, heavier. The grass brushed his ankles as he walked toward the trees. "Hello?" he whispered. "Are you there?" Silence, then a rustle. The alien girl stepped out from behind a tree. Limping slightly, her silver eyes met his again, this time filled with fear. "I didn't mean to crash," she said softly, her voice high and musical. "I didn't mean to hurt you." "You didn't," Liam replied. "Are you okay?" She nodded, then winced. "I crashed my glider bike. It's damaged. I can't go back yet. Do you need help?" Liam asked. She looked at him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "My name is Ziri," she said. "I'm Liam," he replied. "Come on, I know a place where you can hide." Ziri hesitated, then followed him. The stars above sparkled brighter than usual, and somewhere in the sky, something else moved behind the clouds. But Liam didn't see it. He only saw Ziri. and the strange new adventure that had just begun. Asterisk the visitor returns. Liam woke up before the sun. He couldn't sleep much. All night he kept hearing leaves rustle and shadows moving outside his window. But it wasn't fear that kept him awake. It was curiosity. He grabbed a flashlight, put on his hoodie, and slipped out the back door. The grass was wet from morning dew, and the forest behind his house was quiet. No cars, no birds, just the sound of his own footsteps. He walked past the tall trees and broken branches, following the place where he saw the silver eyes the night before. Then he saw it. Hidden behind a thick bush was a glowing blue piece of alien metal. It blinked softly like a sleeping heartbeat. Liam reached out, but didn't touch it. "Don't touch that," came a voice from behind. Liam jumped and turned. It was her Ziri, the alien girl. She looked tired, her hair was messy, and her knee had a tear with purple blood dried on it. "You came back," Liam said, surprised and relieved. "I never left," she replied. "I was hiding." Ziri limped forward and sat on a fallen log. Her bike was gone, but she held a small box with blinking lights and a spinning crystal inside. She looked up at Liam and frowned. "Is your people still looking for me?" "Some are," Liam answered, "but most think you were just a trick." Ziri nodded slowly, then tapped the box. It projected a small floating image. Her ship crashed in a lake far from town. "It's damaged," she said. "I fell through a sky crack." "A what?" Liam asked. "A tear in space," she explained. "We were trying to travel fast, but something pulled me out." Liam sat beside her. He wasn't sure what to say. An alien girl from space was sitting next to him like it was normal, but she looked lonely, and she looked scared. "You're not the only one who came through," Ziri whispered. Liam's eyes widened. "There's more?" "One more," she said, her voice shaking. "A dangerous one." Ziri opened the box wider and showed a shape, a large creature with claws, black skin, and glowing red eyes. "It's called a Varax," she said. "It hunts anything that moves." Liam swallowed hard. "Is it here?" Ziri nodded. "I saw signs last night. Broken trees, strange smells. It's close." Liam stood up, suddenly feeling cold even though the sun was rising. "We have to tell someone," he said. "No," Ziri said quickly. "If your people come with weapons, the Varax will fight and your town will burn." "But what do we do?" Liam asked. "We stop it," Ziri said. "Together." Liam wasn't sure if he was brave or just crazy, but he looked into her eyes and nodded. Ziri opened another compartment in her box and pulled out a silver chip. She handed it to Liam. "This lets me find you," she said, "if we get separated." Suddenly, a sound came from deeper in the forest. A low growl, too deep for any normal animal. Ziri's eyes widened. "It's here," she whispered. She grabbed Liam's hand, pulled him behind a tree. They crouched low as branches snapped in the distance. Something big was moving, slow but heavy. Liam peeked through the leaves and saw dark movement, like a shadow with form. Red lights blinked where eyes should be, and a claw scraped against a rock. Ziri pulled out a small silver rod, tapped it, and it turned into a glowing disc. "If it sees us, use this," she whispered, handing it to Liam. "What does it do?" he asked. "Buys time," she replied. But only once. The Varax stopped moving. It sniffed the air and looked around. Then, just as fast as it came, it disappeared into the deeper woods. Liam let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "That was close," he said. Ziri nodded. "If it finds me before I fix my ship, I'm finished." Liam looked at her. "You're not alone now," he said. "I'll help." Ziri smiled for the first time. Not a wide smile, but a small one, like a star flickering in a dark sky. "We have to move," she said, "before night falls again." Together, they picked up the blinking box. They walked deeper into the trees, toward the unknown, toward something neither of them fully understood. But they walked side by side, two kids from different worlds, and the world around them was about to change forever. Trouble in the forest. The forest wasn't quiet anymore. Liam noticed it first. The birds had stopped singing. The breeze no longer felt gentle. It carried a sharp chill that made his skin crawl. Ziri walked beside him, holding her glowing tracker close to her chest. She kept checking it every few steps. But the lights kept blinking in a slow red pattern. "Still no signal from my ship," she muttered. "It's too damaged." Liam glanced around. Every tree now seemed taller, darker, and older. The same forest that once felt like a playground now looked like it was holding its breath. He bent down and picked up a strange leaf, except it wasn't a leaf. It was part of a large scale, smooth and cold like metal. "Ziri," he called. "Is this from the Varax?" She took one look and nodded. "It's shedding armor, which means it's getting ready to feed." Liam dropped it quickly. "We need a plan," he said. "We can't just walk around hoping it won't find us." Ziri opened her bag and pulled out 2 small pods. One was green and the other red. "These are sensor traps," she said. "They flash if something large moves nearby." They placed the green pod near a patch of broken trees and the red one by a shallow creek. Then they climbed up a hill that gave them a view of the town in the distance. It looked small, peaceful, unaware of the monster just beyond the trees. "We can't let it reach there," Liam said. "There are kids, families, my sister." Ziri sat down on a rock, breathing hard. Her leg injury was worse than she admitted. The crash had hurt her more than she showed. Liam said, "You can't run like this." "I'll be fine," she said, but her voice was weaker. Liam looked at her and felt something grow in his chest, not fear, but something like responsibility. He wasn't just protecting himself anymore. He was protecting someone who didn't belong here, someone who had no one else. Suddenly, a flash of red blinked behind them. The red pod had gone off. Ziri jumped to her feet, limping fast toward the edge of the hill. Liam followed, his heart racing. Below them, near the creek, the trees shook violently. Then the Varax appeared. It was larger than Liam had imagined. Tall as a van, covered in black scales with long arms ending in hooked claws. Its eyes glowed red, but its mouth, if it had one, was hidden by a twisting pattern of moving armor. Ziri pulled out a silver rod and aimed it toward the monster. But she didn't press anything. "Too far," she whispered, "and too risky." The Varax sniffed the air and turned its head. Its eyes locked onto the red pod blinking in the grass. With one swift strike, it crushed it, and the light vanished. Then it looked up directly at the hill where they stood. "Run," Ziri said, grabbing Liam's arm. They ran through the forest, jumping over roots and ducking under branches. Behind them, trees cracked and shattered as the Varax gave chase. Ziri pressed her tracker and threw it backward. It exploded in a flash of light, slowing the creature. They reached a cave hidden by thick vines. Ziri pushed the vines aside and pulled Liam inside. They both collapsed, breathing hard. For a moment, there was silence. Then a deep growl echoed outside the cave. The Varax had stopped, but it hadn't gone. "It's waiting," Ziri whispered. "It's smart." Liam looked around the cave and spotted something strange. Metal walls hidden under dirt. Small lights blinking faintly. "This isn't a cave," he said. "It's part of your ship." Ziri's eyes widened. She brushed dirt from the wall and found a symbol. Her voice trembled. "This is the backup pod." She opened a hidden panel, revealing wires and buttons glowing dim blue. "It's not strong enough to fly, but maybe, just maybe, it can help us trap the Varax." Liam helped her connect wires and reroute energy to a small glass orb. As it lit up, Ziri smiled. "We can use this to make a sound that lures it," she said. "A sound only it can." "Here," Liam nodded. They had a plan now, a risky one, but better than running forever. Ziri handed Liam a small device. "Press this when I say, and the sound will blast." "But what about you?" Liam asked. "I'll be nearby," she said. "But don't worry about me. Just follow the signal." Outside, the Varax scratched at the trees, waiting, watching. Inside the cave, 2 children from different stars prepared to fight something. Older than fear, the trap was set. The countdown had begun, and in the heart of the forest, something ancient had just been challenged by the youngest defenders Earth had to offer. Asterisk, the hunt begins. The sky turned orange as the sun began to fall. Long shadows stretched across the ground, twisting through the trees like dark fingers. Liam and Ziri stood just outside the hidden cave, their hearts pounding with quiet courage. In Ziri's hands was a strange alien tool, shaped like a flower but glowing like a crystal. In Liam's pocket was the sound emitter, the one thing that could draw the Varax into the trap. They didn't have time to think, only time to act. Ziri pointed to the left. There, she whispered. That's where the terrain is narrow, and the trees grow tight together. Liam nodded. If we can get it stuck there, we might have a chance. The plan was dangerous, almost foolish. They had no army, no weapons powerful enough to kill the creature. But they had one advantage: it didn't know they were hunting it too. They moved fast, placing small glowing markers Ziri had taken from the backup pod. Each one beeped softly and released a faint scent, invisible to humans but powerful to the Varax. The idea was simple: lead the creature into a trap made from Earth tools and alien tech. Simple didn't mean safe. By the time they finished setting up the last marker, the forest had grown dark. The only light came from the strange blue glow of the alien tools and the distant town behind the trees. Liam looked toward the town and saw the blinking lights of cars and houses. It looked peaceful, unaware of the danger lurking just beyond the trees. He clenched his fists. We have to finish this tonight, he said. Ziri looked at him, her silver eyes soft. You're not like the others, she said. Most humans would have run by now. Liam smiled faintly. Maybe I'm just crazy. They returned to the cave to activate the sound emitter. As Ziri connected wires and focused the crystal, Liam turned on his communicator. A tiny green light blinked. His sister was online. He had left her a message earlier, and now he whispered into it. Maya, if you're listening, stay out of the woods tonight, he said. Something's coming. He didn't expect a reply, but just seconds later, a voice crackled in. Liam? What are you doing out there? His stomach dropped. She had followed him. I told you to stay home, he whispered sharply. I saw you leave, and I knew something was wrong, Maya said. I'm close. Tell me what's going on. Before he could stop her, Ziri took the communicator. Maya, she said, if you want to help, you must follow my instructions exactly. There was a pause. Then Maya's voice came again. Steady this time. Tell me what to do. With no time left, Ziri gave her the coordinates of the backup trap site. I'll meet her there, Liam said. Start the signal when I say. Ziri handed him the device and nodded. Be careful. Liam ran through the trees, guided by his flashlight and the blinking markers. The forest now felt like a maze, filled with echoes and distant growls. He reached Maya near the large boulders where they had planned to trap the Varax. She had a baseball bat in her hands, and her backpack was full of wires and duct tape. You brought duct tape? Liam asked, surprised. You brought an alien, she replied. Let's call it even. Suddenly, the air changed. The trees stopped moving, and a low rumble spread through the ground. The Varax was close. Liam pressed the button. The device lit up and released a sound no human could hear, but the forest responded. Leaves trembled, birds scattered, and a distant roar shattered the stillness. The ground shook as something massive ran toward them. Ziri's traps blinked one by one, guiding the beast directly into the narrow canyon. Then it appeared charging between the trees like a black wave. Its eyes locked on Liam and Maya. Its claws tore into the dirt as it chased the signal. Liam ran one way, Maya the other. The creature followed Liam straight into the trap as it entered the canyon path. Ziri activated the second wave, a burst of blinding blue light from the ridge above. The Varax shrieked, slamming into tree trunks, trying to escape the light, but the trees were too close together, and the rocks were too high. It was trapped. Ziri dropped from the ridge, limping but focused. She threw a stasis bomb near the creature's legs, an alien orb that exploded in a soft pulse. The Virax froze for a moment, caught between movement and stillness, but then it roared and began to break free. "Now, Liam!" Ziri shouted. Liam threw the emitter into the canyon. It exploded in a final wave of sound. The creature howled and slammed backward into the cliff wall, where Maya had set up her surprise. A net of wires, poles, and car batteries borrowed from her garage. Electricity surged through the net. The Virax screamed, shook, then finally dropped to the ground. Still breathing, but weak, silence returned to the forest. The hunt was over. Ziri fell to her knees, and Liam ran to her. "You did it," she whispered. "No," Liam said. "We did it." The stars above seemed to glow brighter that night. And somewhere in the dark, the forest exhaled again. But far beyond the earth, a signal had been sent, and someone or something was listening. Kidnapped. The sun never rose for Liam the next morning, not because it didn't shine, but because Ziri was gone. He woke up on the floor of the cave, cold air brushing his face. The tools were still there, the blinking alien devices untouched. But Ziri's blanket was empty, and her tracker lay on the ground, crushed. Liam's chest tightened as he picked it up. "No," he whispered. "She wouldn't leave like this." Maya arrived moments later, out of breath, her eyes wide. "I checked the ridge," she said. "No sign of her, but there are tracks, deep ones." They both followed the trail, stepping over broken branches and clawed tree trunks. The path led deeper into the woods than either of them had gone before. Even birds avoided this place. After nearly an hour, they reached the edge of an abandoned factory. It was old and rusted, surrounded by vines and silence. No lights, no sounds except for a soft growl that came from inside. "She's in there," Liam said, gripping the edge of the wall. "I'm going in. I'm going with you," Maya replied firmly, pulling out her flashlight and a wrench from her bag. They moved through the broken entrance, stepping over torn wires and smashed crates. Inside, the air was thick and heavy, filled with the scent of metal and something worse, something ancient. They passed shattered machines and dusty tanks. Then they saw her. Ziri was hanging from a web of sticky black cables, suspended in the air like a trapped animal. Her eyes fluttered open as she saw them. "Run," she mouthed. A hiss echoed through the room. The Virax was there, but something had changed. Was larger now, pulsing with a strange red glow. Its skin looked harder, its claws sharper. It had fed maybe on something not from Earth, maybe something from Ziri's ship wreckage. Maya threw the wrench at a nearby panel, causing sparks to fly. The distraction worked for a second. Liam dashed toward Ziri and started pulling the black threads off her arms. "They're alive," Ziri gasped. "The web, it's part of it." The sticky black lines wrapped tighter as Liam pulled harder. One snapped like a vine, causing the entire nest to shudder. The Virax turned, eyes glowing like burning coal. Maya shouted, "Hey, ugly," and smashed a barrel with her flashlight. Drawing its attention, it lunged at her with terrifying speed. Crashing through rusted steel, Liam finally freed Ziri's arms. "Hold on," he said, wrapping her arm around his neck. They limped toward the exit while Maya ran in circles. Leading the beast away, Ziri opened a small device from her pocket. It glowed blue and buzzed. "This is a beacon," she said weakly. "If I activate it, someone will come." "Your people?" Liam asked, helping her through the rubble. "I hope so," she whispered, then pressed the button. A high-pitched tone filled the air for a moment, then silence, then a low hum in the sky, faint but growing louder outside. The clouds parted slightly, and a small ship began descending. It wasn't Earth's design. It moved like it swam through the air, sleek and smooth. Maya sprinted from the side entrance, panting hard. "It's still in there," she shouted. "I think it's stuck for now." The ship landed with a soft pulse, and a beam of light scanned the area. Then two figures stepped out tall, wearing armor that shimmered like moonlight. They had long limbs, glowing patterns across their faces. And eyes like Ziri's, one of them rushed to her and knelt down. "Ziri," the voice said, deep and soft. "We've been looking for you." She nodded weakly. "I didn't mean to crash," she said. "But they helped me." The alien looked at Liam and Maya. "You helped one of ours," he said. "That is not forgotten." Then he looked toward the factory. "There's still one problem," he said. "The creature inside. We trapped it," Maya said. "For now." The second alien stepped forward and threw a small black orb into the factory. There was a loud pulse, and then the building shimmered before collapsing in on itself. A strange silence followed. "The Varax is sealed," he said. "But not destroyed." Ziri stood up slowly, leaning on Liam. "I want to stay," she said, surprising everyone. "These two saved my life, and Earth deserves better than fear." The two alien guardians looked at each other. Finally, the taller one nodded. "You may remain," he said, "but your connection to them is now bound." "What does that mean?" Liam asked, confused. The alien handed him a silver mark. "From this day forward, her fate is tied to yours." Ziri smiled gently. "Don't worry, that's a good thing." The guardians entered the ship and lifted into the sky without fire. Without noise, only a shimmer in the clouds marked their passing. Liam, Ziri, and Maya stood in the field, staring at the stars. No words were needed. Everything had changed, yet somehow they were still just kids under the same sky. But as they turned to walk home, none of them saw the dark crack in the clouds above. Something else had opened, and the real storm hadn't even begun. Human courage. The town of Silverpine went quiet again, but it wasn't peace. It was the kind of silence that comes before a storm. After the alien ship vanished into the clouds, and the factory collapsed into silence, Liam thought things might finally go back to normal. He was wrong. It began with the animals. Birds flew in circles, dogs barked at shadows, and even insects vanished from the forest. Then came the strange power flickers. Lights blinking off for seconds at a time, even in the middle of the day. Liam and Ziri sat on the roof of his house watching the sky. Ziri held a small device with a spinning core inside. It glowed white instead of blue now. "That's not normal, is it?" Liam asked. Ziri shook her head. "The portal is still open," she said. "Something is holding it wide." Maya climbed up beside them, holding a tablet connected to Ziri's tracker. "This reading isn't local anymore," she said. "It's showing something massive above the atmosphere." Liam looked up. "You mean, in orbit?" Ziri stood slowly, her eyes locked on the clouds. "What happens next will shock you." Stars above Silverpine twinkled like they always had. But something had changed. The air no longer hummed with strange energy. The trees no longer whispered warnings. For the first time in weeks, the town slept peacefully. But inside one small house at the edge of the woods, 3 lives were forever different. Liam sat at his desk, his arm bandaged, eyes staring at the alien silver mark glowing softly. In his palm, Ziri sat across from him, her skin no longer bruised, her silver eyes calmer now. She wore earth clothes, an old hoodie Maya had loaned her, but somehow, she still looked like she belonged to the stars. "You could leave now," Liam said quietly. "The danger's gone." Ziri smiled and shook her head. "I was born on a ship," she said. "I've never had a home, not really. You want this to be your home?" Maya asked, leaning in from the doorway. Her hair was messy, grease smudged across her cheek, but she smiled proudly. Ziri nodded. "You saved me, protected me, and fought beside me," she said. "In my world, that means we're bonded." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Bonded like friends?" Ziri tilted her head. "Bonded like fate," she replied. "When one of us chooses to stay, we share responsibility for each other. Forever." Liam blinked. "That's a lot." Ziri reached across the table and touched the glowing mark in his palm. "But it's not a curse," she said. "It's a promise." Before he could reply, the room suddenly darkened. The lights flickered. Not in fear, but in recognition. A small hologram appeared above Ziri's fallen tracker blue. Flickering and unfamiliar, it showed a star map zooming in rapidly. A voice followed, not in English but in Ziri's native tongue. She stood quickly, face pale. "What is it?" Maya asked, stepping closer. Ziri looked at them with fear in her voice for the first time. "That wasn't a collector," she said. "That was a scout. You told us it was a collector." Liam said, "I thought it was," she whispered. "But the data is clear now. That was just a fragment of something larger." The map zoomed again, showing a wave of red signals spreading from a black hole, dozens of them. Hundreds, maybe more. Each signal pulsed in rhythm like a heartbeat. Each one moving toward Earth. Liam stepped back. "They're coming here?" Ziri nodded. "Not just to study, but to claim." Maya clenched her fists. "We stopped one," she said. "We can stop more." But Ziri shook her head. "Not like this," she said. "We need help, not just from my world, but from yours." Too. For the first time, Liam felt the full weight of what was coming. Not just a visitor. Not just a threat, but a war for the planet itself. And somehow, a boy who once kicked a soccer ball in his backyard had become part of the front line. Ziri reached into her bag and pulled out a small cube one her guardians had left behind. "If we activate this, it sends a beacon far across the stars," she said. "But it only works once. So we call your people?" Maya asked. "No," Ziri replied. "We call everyone my kind, others who fear the collectors. Anyone who still believes in defending life." Liam took a deep breath, then nodded. "Then we make the call." Ziri placed the cube on the ground, pressed her hand to it, and whispered something in her language. The cube rose into the air, opened into 8 petals, and began to glow. A shockwave of light blasted upward, piercing the roof and shooting into space. Invisible to the human eye, but seen by thousands across the stars. From a forgotten moon, a ship turned toward Earth. From a hidden station, old warriors awoke, and from deep within a nebula, a council of peacekeepers lit their long-dead engines. Back in Silverpine, the cube slowly floated back down. The light faded, but the sky now shimmered differently. Liam looked up and saw not stars, but all eyes. Ziri touched his shoulder gently. "They'll come," she said, "but we must be ready." "Too," Maya grinned. "I've already started building something in the garage." Liam laughed. "Of course you have. That night, 3 kids, 1 human boy, 1 human girl, and 1 alien girl stood on the roof and stared at a universe about to change. The world had no idea what was coming, but in one small town, courage had already answered, and somewhere far beyond, a war machine paused in its path. Because on one blue planet, humanity had made a choice, not to run, not to hide, but to stand and be remembered. Not as victims, but as a species worth fearing. "No," she said, her voice trembling. "It's already entering." Suddenly, the air shifted. The clouds above twisted unnaturally, forming a spiral. Then a beam of red light shot down to the forest floor far beyond the hills. It struck the earth with no sound, no explosion, just stillness. But the tracker went wild, blinking fast and red. "It's a scout," Ziri whispered. "Something far worse than the Varax." Without waiting, she leapt down from the roof and ran for her gear. Liam followed, grabbing a backpack full of tools and duct-taped gadgets. Maya snatched a solar battery and slung it over her shoulder. They weren't just kids anymore, they were defenders. By the time they reached the hilltop overlooking the far woods, a deep humming filled the air. A creature unlike anything they'd seen hovered above the ground. It had no legs, only a floating body made of shifting plates. Its face changed shape as it moved, sometimes human, sometimes beast. Ziri pulled out a scanner. "It's a collector-class observer," she said. "It doesn't destroy, it studies." "Studies what?" Liam asked. "Life, behavior, fear," Ziri replied. "It learns before the others come. We stop it here, or Earth becomes a lab," Maya added, tightening her gloves. Ziri handed each of them a small sphere. "This is a neural flare," she said. Throw it close, and it disrupts energy shields. They crept closer, using the trees as cover. The creature floated silently, scanning the area with beams of golden light. Liam held his breath as he moved around its left side. Maya took the right, and Ziri stayed behind the rocks, setting up her final device, a sound wave feedback loop connected to her broken glider's core. She looked at Liam through the trees and raised her hand. "Now," she whispered. Liam threw his neural flare. The orb rolled across the ground and exploded in a flash of white. The creature shrieked not from pain, but from surprise. Maya's orb followed a second later, cracking the air like thunder. Ziri activated the core, and the air trembled. Waves of sound rippled through the clearing. Focused and sharp, the creature's shape flickered, then broke apart for a second. Beneath the armor, there was no skin, just data. It wasn't alive, it was a machine with memory. The collector turned to attack, and a beam of golden light shot toward Liam. He dove behind a rock, but part of his shoulder burned red hot from the blast. Ziri screamed and ran toward him, throwing her last flare directly at the machine's core. This time, it worked. The collector stuttered, sparks flying from its body, its lights blinking in confusion. But then it shifted again, turning into something new. It copied Ziri's shape, then Maya's, then Liam's face. It floated higher, and the air grew colder. Liam stood up, ignoring the pain in his arm. He pulled out a mirror panel Ziri had given him earlier, a device that reflected memory instead of light. He aimed it at the creature and shouted, "Remember me." The mirror glowed, and the creature froze, trapped in a loop of its own copied forms. Ziri used that moment to leap onto its back and slam a spike into its core. Blue light burst out in all directions, sending everyone flying backward. When Liam opened his eyes, the collector was gone. Only floating pieces of metal hovered in the air, then dissolved into ash. Ziri lay nearby, breathing but barely moving. He ran to her and dropped beside her. "You okay?" he asked. She looked up and nodded slowly. "You were brave," she whispered. "Like a human story I once read." Maya arrived, scratched and dusty but smiling. "You mean the kind where the human saves the world?" "No," Ziri said. "The kind where courage doesn't need weapons." They stood together, tired but alive. The sky above calmed, and the spinning cloud hole finally closed. For now, Earth was safe again, not because of armies or ships, because 3 young souls chose to fight back. And far above, in a galaxy watching from afar, someone finally whispered, "Humans are not to be underestimated." Asterisk.